She cried in the shower. Not because it was over, because it wasn't. Scarlett Johansson is reportedly coming back from the dead, and the way she's describing the phone call that made it happen sounds less like a casting decision and more like a confession. Natasha Romanoff sacrificed everything on that cliff. And according to insiders, Marvel just found a loophole that could make that sacrifice feel like it never mattered at all. Collision. Hey everyone, welcome back to Amelia Brown. Today we're breaking down the Scarlett Johansson resurrection, the phone call, the loophole, and the reaction nobody expected. Let's get into it.
I love it. We have so much to discuss. How did this even come about? Well, some things are worth waiting for.
Can we see you as Natasha again?
I was home on the phone with Kevin Feige, and I think I was like, okay. I cried in the shower later.
Listen to how she actually describes it. Home on the phone with Kevin Feige, and her own words afterward, I cried in the shower later. That is not the language of an actress casually discussing a fun cameo. That's the language of someone who just found out the ending she thought was permanent isn't permanent at all. And once you sit with that, the entire scale of what Marvel is allegedly building becomes impossible to ignore. You don't cry in the shower over a paycheck. You cry over a resurrection. Marvel Studios has apparently landed on one golden rule for this next crossover. Whenever there's an opportunity to blow up the box office and shatter fan expectations, they take it without hesitation. Trailers already confirmed Chris Evans returning as Steve Rogers, complete with a timeline-breaking twist involving a 1950s household and a baby. That alone sent shockwaves through social media. But insiders say that's not even the biggest bombshell they're sitting on. When Captain America's return is just the appetizer, you know the main course is going to be devastating. And it's not just that Chris Evans is back, it's how he's coming back. The trailer reveals Steve Rogers stepping into a 1950s household, complete with a baby, a timeline-breaking twist nobody saw coming. This isn't a quick cameo wink to the fans. It's a confirmed, deliberate narrative choice that tells you exactly how far Marvel is willing to bend continuity to make this crossover land emotionally. If they're willing to hand Steve Rogers an entire alternate domestic life just for a few minutes of screen time, imagine what they're willing to do for Natasha. If Captain America gets a baby and a whole new decade, Natasha getting a second chance at life doesn't even sound like a stretch anymore. According to unconfirmed reports moving through Hollywood talent agencies, Scarlett Johansson could allegedly be gearing up to return as Natasha Romanoff, and insiders claim this could dwarf even the shock of Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom. Think about that for a second. RDJ's return alone broke the internet, and this is being described as bigger. When a rumor makes RDJ's comeback look like a footnote, that's not hype, that's an earthquake.
I had dinner with a bunch of the Marvel folks last night.
Here's the reveal buried in this offhand line about dinner with Marvel folks. Casual conversation, insider access, the kind of thing that turns into a franchise-altering deal before anyone else even hears about it. And insiders say the mechanism Marvel would use isn't new. Remember Gamora, wiped out on Vormir for the Soul Stone, only for a 2014 alternate timeline variant of her to march straight back into the modern era by the end of that very same film. Online rumors claim Natasha's potential return would exploit that exact same multiversal loophole. Marvel already proved death has an exit door on that same planet. Now they might be using it twice. Industry chatter insists this wouldn't undo the gut-wrenching sacrifice on Vormir. Instead, they'd introduce a variant hailing from a completely different timeline, one fractured by the cataclysmic arrival of Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. Directors and creative leads reportedly have sweeping authority to bridge disparate universes. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Legacy Avengers, all melting into one canvas wider than anything the franchise has attempted. They're not rewriting her death. They're just finding a version of her who never had to die in the first place. Word on the street is that Natasha's potential role goes far beyond a nostalgic flashback or a background cameo. In a world torn apart by multiversal incursions and threatened by a corrupted variant of Tony Stark wearing the mask of Dr. Doom, a seasoned variant of Black Widow could reportedly play a pivotal glue-like role, holding the fractured Avengers together. Timelines colliding, reality-jumping variants fighting for survival, old friendships tested by alternate histories. Insiders say having a master strategist like Natasha back on the board changes the entire tactical dynamic of the team. You don't bring back your best strategist for a cameo. You bring her back because the team is falling apart without her. Naturally, when leaks of this magnitude circulate, studios and stars keep their cards close to their chests, but the sheer volume of production smoke points to a massive fire. Fans dissecting every second of promotional footage have noticed how meticulously Marvel is setting up a sprawling narrative where past, present, and alternate futures bleed together into one confrontation. Whether she steps through a rift as a battle-hardened soldier from a collapsed reality or a variant from an untold chapter of history, the mere prospect has completely revitalized the fanbase's hunger for answers. Marvel doesn't need to confirm anything when the internet is already doing the marketing for free.
Speaking of Renaissance and coming full circle, I've become surprisingly open-minded to the idea.
This film feels very much like it's alive and fresh.
And this is the line that should end all the speculation. I've become surprisingly open-minded to the idea. This film feels very much like it's alive and fresh. That's not a denial. That's not a never say never throwaway. That's an actress describing exactly the kind of creative reinvigoration someone feels when they've already said yes to something they thought they'd close the door on forever. When someone tells you they're open-minded about coming back from the dead, they've already made the decision. Here's where it gets personal for the people closest to this franchise. Reports suggest that even close industry friends and major franchise faces like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, no strangers to the wild fourth-wall-breaking multiverse thanks to Deadpool, were genuinely shocked by the sheer scale of Marvel's reunion plans. If the actors who live inside this multiverse chaos every day were caught off guard by this, that tells you exactly how far outside anyone's expectations this move really is. When even the people who joke about the multiverse for a living get blindsided, you know Marvel broke its own rulebook. But here's the uncomfortable question fans keep circling back to. If every single death can simply be undone by reaching into a parallel dimension, or pulling a variant from a different calendar year, do these dramatic sacrifices lose their punch entirely? Industry analysts believe Marvel is treading carefully here, leaning on the groundwork laid by Loki and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, establishing that variants are fundamentally different people with distinct lived experiences, not simple resurrections. Marvel isn't bringing her back from the dead. They're bringing back someone who never had to die, and hoping you don't notice the difference. If a variant of Natasha enters the fray, she won't automatically carry the exact same relationship history with Clint Barton, Bruce Banner, or Steve Rogers. That creates immediate dramatic tension. The remaining original Avengers grappling with the emotional mirror image of a sister and teammate they lost years ago, while simultaneously facing down the existential threat of a variant of Tony Stark himself. It transforms what could be a cheap nostalgia grab into a genuinely complex psychological gauntlet for everyone left standing. Same face, same voice, same suit, but insiders say she might be a stranger wearing all of it. Think about the sheer emotional weight of this parallel. The remaining Avengers would be staring down a corrupted variant of Tony Stark, the man they loved and lost, now wearing the mask of their newest threat, while simultaneously reuniting with a variant of the woman they lost on that same cliff. Two ghosts walking back into the room at the same time, one as a villain and one as a possible ally. Insiders say that emotional collision is exactly the kind of gut punch Marvel is banking on to justify bringing either of them back at all. You don't get two resurrections like this in the same movie by accident. Insiders say Marvel built the whole crossover around this exact collision. Consider the sheer logistical scale of what's reportedly being assembled here. Characters from Fox's X-Men universe, Sony's Spider-Man iterations, the newly introduced Fantastic Four, and the surviving original Avengers all sharing the same screen time, the same fractured timeline, the same collision course. Within that kind of multiversal chaos, running into a variant of Natasha Romanoff who hails from a world where history played out differently stops sounding like science fiction and starts sounding like exactly the kind of move this franchise has been building toward for years. When the scale gets this big, bringing back the dead stops being a twist, it becomes the only way the story can even function. Here's the thing insiders keep circling back to. A few years ago, a pitch like this, bring back a dead Avenger as an alternate timeline variant, while her old teammates fight a corrupted version of a man they buried, would have sounded like fan fiction. Not anymore. After Loki, after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, after Endgame's own Gamora loophole, This stopped sounding like impossible science fiction and started sounding like textbook Marvel storytelling. That's exactly why insiders say nobody in the building is treating this rumor as far-fetched. Marvel spent years training its own fans to expect the impossible, and now the impossible is just Tuesday. As production leaks continue and studio executives keep their cards close to their chests, anticipation has reached an absolute fever pitch across every platform. Fans are dissecting every frame, every Easter egg, every subtle audio cue for confirmation. Whether Scarlett Johansson ultimately steps back onto the screen as a past variant, a battle-hardened soldier from a collapsed reality, or something else entirely, the mere possibility has already energized the fanbase and turned the spotlight back onto the characters who built this universe from the ground up. The rules of life, death, and the multiverse are officially up for grabs, and Marvel just proved nobody's story ever really ends. So here's where it stands. A phone call that reportedly ended in tears. A loophole Marvel already used once on the same cliff with a different character. A variant who might wear Natasha's face without carrying her history. And two of the industry's biggest names, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, reportedly blindsided by how far Marvel is willing to go. So tell me, do you want to see Scarlett Johansson back as Natasha, even if it's technically a different version of her? Or does bringing her back cheapen everything Endgame made you feel on that cliff? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear where you land. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. This is Amelia Brown. I'll see you in the next video.